So we're back, everyone, with Terry Milner Tarquini, the author of this book, Pregatory, kind of a humorous look at pregnancy. And what's really cool is you talked to a lot of your friends and got a lot of their stories. So I'm dying to know what some of these funny stories are that are in here.
You know, this really tracks the whole pregnancy journey. And we pulled in everything. I had several girlfriends, or actually colleagues too, read it, that didn't know my story per se, and give me feedback, so that we really did incorporate a lot of different things in it. But it tracks everything from, actually, when you find out that you're pregnant, to ultrasounds, to finding out the gender of the baby, to picking names, to there's a phenomenon called pregnesia. It's also called baby brain.
Oh my gosh, everybody I know who's been pregnant has that.
I still have it. My daughter's a year and a half old. I still have it.
That's so funny.
My husband, I'm not sure, really believed that it existed.
Oh, it's there.
It's there. I truly
I've
had the
seen
inability to hold any thought in my head. We go through, the first time I went to go register at Babies R Us, I was so overwhelmed. All these things that they say you need. When I brought my dog home, $50, leash, collar, crate, bowl, done.
You're done.
And here I walked into Babies R Us, I felt like I was in a different country that spoke a different language, and I didn't know anything about it. And I needed supposedly all of these things, and an Intellitainer and a Bumbo and a Boppy, and I didn't know what any of these things were.
What's an Intellitainer?
It's kind of this thing that you can contain them in, and it jumps up and down and has these toys all around it.
Oh, okay.
So that's discussed in the book. But the whole feeling just set adrift, that you don't know what your baby needs, and everybody's got a different opinion on what worked for their child or what didn't. And just, we cover those kind of things. We cover the stresses of wanting to get the car seat in, and the curtains up in the nursery, and your husband not thinking that's a real big deal, that you've got plenty of time, and you as the new mom just want to get it done. You want the pack and play set up, and you want all this stuff done, and all the way through, like I said, being on bed rest, the inevitable weight gain that is going to happen, and where you really gain weight everywhere. Everybody wants to have the ideal pregnancy where they just have
just a basketball.
Yeah, the little basketball. Yeah. Really, I certainly didn't have it. I know women who have, but it wasn't. Yeah. It was not me. All the way through the actual nitty-gritty of the labor and delivery and things like that. So, yeah, it was we pretty much cover the wide range of topics.
That's so funny. A lot of people remember about a year and a half ago here at WREX, everybody was pregnant at the same time. We had a baby blog on our website. Katie was pregnant. Danny Maxwell, one of our old anchors, was pregnant. My sister was pregnant at the same time. So I felt like I was getting a crash course, just observing everyone around me at the same time. And everyone had different kind of concerns. And no one really seemed to know what was going on.
Right. Were they all crazy and hormonal?
Yeah.
That's part of the thing,
I can say that now. Yeah. I mean, all in their own ways.
Yep. Well, but I think when you're actually going through it too, you don't even realize how hormonal sometimes you are. I felt like I was being fairly level. Sure. And, as I kind of looked back at some of the situations, I thought, oh man, I wasn't. And you just, like I said, you know you're going to gain weight, but you don't always realize all the other things that go into the pregnancy journey. Yeah. But I will say this, again, I said, this is not a horror story. This will not get people to not get pregnant. I mean, throughout the whole book is, the idea that this is an amazing thing too. And that's what I always say. I don't wish pregnancy on anybody. I wish it for everybody. Because it was, at the end of it, I wished, I didn't want it to be over at the end. As much as I wanted it to go fast, as we got close to the end, I didn't want it to be over. So, but you have this most amazing thing you get to bring home at the end of it all. So. It's well worth it.
Well, and plus you're learning from all these different women, so it's kind of like just learning from the people who've gone before you through it, for better or for worse, but that way you're prepared for all of it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's, like I said, it's trying to inform people. I always say it's not a guide, it's not a how-to. I don't purport to be the pregnancy guru. Right. I didn't know what I was doing when I was pregnant, just like anybody else. Yeah. This is just strictly trying to inform people on some of the different topics, but doing it so they can laugh the whole time. It was strictly written as if you're sitting around with a bunch of your best friends, they're all sharing stories, being perfectly open and candid, and you're laughing till your stomach hurts. You can't stop laughing. That was the idea about writing it. So
let me ask you, what is the most embarrassing story in the book? Can you share that?
The most embarrassing story in the book?
Because I'm sure embarrassing stuff happens.
Yeah, I guess one of them I'm thinking of is my girlfriend had very, very vivid dreams. A lot of women have very vivid dreams when they're pregnant. And she had some very vivid dreams about a friend's husband.
Oh no.
And yes, and there was a lot, so there's kind of some of those kind of things that she shared with me, and she said, please don't make sure you don't mention my name.
So again, you're not going to be any names.
I will never say who that is, or just I mean, like I said, things like that it's just there's so much things that happen to your body that it's kind of shocking.
Well, and things that are so shocking that I'm sure you want to share them with people, but I mean that's so embarrassing. You wouldn't want to tell anybody.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So really, some of the truly more embarrassing things in the book are really, I think, probably the most funny things. I probably can't share on the air because they're a little. They're probably and the book was written kind of in a sassy kind of style.
Okay.
It's more in keeping with the humor. I've heard many times people say that it would be like if Carrie Bradshaw from Sex and the City got pregnant.
Gotcha.
Or Chelsea Handler from Late Night with Chelsea. Those it's kind of a little bit of a body sense of humor. It's certainly not X-rated by any means, but it's the things that your body goes through. It is kind of crazy, so you really have to be. Yeah, it gets real. Exactly, that's it. Absolutely.
If anyone's ever read Chelsea Handler's books, if it's that same style, I mean, it's hilarious. I mean, she does the same thing. It's just she takes you through her stories, and it's funny.
Yes, and that's exactly how I wanted to write it. Was really talking the way women talk to each other.
Yes.
And that's what it does.
So your daughter is how old now? A year and a half?
She's 19 months. Yes.
Okay. How has it been looking back on this book now that you're that far? Are you thinking of doing another book now on actually having a kid?
Yes. We are not going to have any more children. But I've actually been taking notes for a second book that would be kind of the first couple years of raising a baby and a toddler. And again, I've got a lot of awesome women friends that are raising children, and I've seen their struggles, and and they're having. I mean, you want to keep your sense of humor while you're pregnant. You really need to keep your sense of humor as a mom, because things just happen every day that just kind of you shake your head, or just something every day happens. And so I think it's even funnier, the stories that now she's on the ground, walking, climbing, all that kind of stuff. So
there's a lot of new stuff
every day is a new adventure.
And that's what I've heard from my sister too. My niece is 11 months right now, and it's amazing. I go back and visit, and I just see her, and I'm just like kind of on the outside, but she'll do something embarrassing, or she'll do something weird or whatever. And my sister will just laugh it off, and I'm like, but she just spit up all over the floor, whatever it is. But you have to deal with that.
Yep. I say that. I realized my whole life had changed the day I was with a girlfriend, and we were getting ready to go out for a walk with our kids, and I looked down and I had spit up all over the front of my shirt, and I just kind of wiped it off, and I asked her if she could see it, and she said no, and I said, okay, let's go. And we walked out of the house, and that's something I never would have done before. I kind of realized I had crossed over into the whole other mommy world that,
You're in it.
It was a real revelation. So
we want to mention again where you can pick up this book. Really a fun book to read. Lulu.com. That's the publisher, right? You can buy it straight through the publisher, and that's what you would prefer, right?
I like to support the publisher. So if anybody can go on there, that'd be great.
That's great.
It's also on Amazon. Yep. And then if anybody wants a signed copy. They can also order it from me, but if they want a signed copy, they could go through the Facebook page Pregatory. And,
awesome.
And then, if they want a gift for themselves or a gift for a baby shower, I could sign it for them and send it to them.
That's really cool. Let's talk a little more about that. We want to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll let you know exactly how to get one of those signed copies, because if you're a big reader like me, you know that when you have a signed copy, it's a little more special.
Yeah, well, it's nice to have your name on it. So.
Exactly. All right, we'll be right back.